Okay folks, everything's filled, everything's washed down, walls sealing with sugar soap, and now finally ready to start getting the primer on. These are bare concrete, cement and plaster walls. This is the primer I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be following that with normal emulsion. A lot of people like to use PVA glue as a sealer, mixed in with water and or masonry paint. I'm going for emulsion and the proper primer. It's my preference, so that's what I'm going to be using. Nothing out of the ordinary, a good decent quality Harris trade brush, painter's tool, and obviously a mixer for the paint. Hopefully in the next clip you will see me with all the edges cut in and good to go that way. And you'll hopefully see over there in the background a few of the dust sheets moving around as I try to cover the place up a wee bit. Not so worried if I do get any drips in the floor, because that's all going to be sorted anyway, separately. But just in case there's a spillage or something like that, because accidents always happen. But anyway, let's get moving. There we go folks, that's all the cutting in and the edges done. I'm in the garage now, all the walls, floors, ceiling, around the roof, space hatch, etc, etc. So we're now in good shape. That took an awful long time. You can see I have a few random spots over the walls, just so there was a few stains, but the primer's taken to that all okay. An awful lot of time spent around the boiler trying to get in around the pipes and stuff, but we're in good shape anyway. So it's now time to get the roller out and make big progress with actually covering the main ceiling, walls, etc, etc. So next week clip should hopefully see the ceiling complete with primer. Okay folks, you can hopefully see the ceiling wall primered. It's I think it's whenever the roof hatch has been put in, it's been plastered over again. It's a pretty poor job, so it's not totally even there, but one decent coat of the primer seems to have done the job. You'll also see along this wall here has been done, and a few spots randomly just where there's been marks in the wall. So time to push on and get the other remaining walls finished off as well. There we go folks, that's the entire garage primed now. Pretty wet Saturday here, so sorry for the potential background noise with rain, etc, etc, but as you can see that's the garage all totally primed, ready for emulsion, probably tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, etc, etc. See how long it takes. As you can see, there's a few parts strewn about. Just beneath the ladders there are the boiler plates, and the boiler's all been rebuilt and serviced with new heater plates in it, new oil feed hoses on it, etc, etc. So that's now running sweet as a nut as well. A few other things to do on it, just waiting on a few other spare parts coming through the post for it. But yeah, that's the garage base now starting to look that bit better, and even with the white primer on it, looks that bit better. But yeah, roll on the emulsion. Okay folks, on to the next step, which is emulsion time. And you should see there I'm using Leyland Trade Contract Matte Brilliant White Emulsion. So that'll go on top of the primer. I've started cutting in around the boiler pipes, which obviously isn't a great fun job, but it has to be done. So I can see straight away as I've cut it in, it's sharpening up the room, filling in a lot of the patches. It's a good thick trade paint that, so I'll crack on with that. And the next update will hopefully be the first coat of emulsion. Might need a second, but it seems to be going on quite well, but we'll see. There we go folks, that is the walls and ceiling all complete. That's 2 coats of emulsion, and it's now come up very, very well. Time to move on to the floor. I've given it probably about the 15th brush up. I'll buzz over it quickly with the hoover just to make sure things are as clean as they possibly can be. Then I'll move on to getting the floor coated. So yeah, let's crack on with that. There we go folks, that is the coating I'm going to be using there. It's a Solent synthetic resin based industrial floor paint in 5 litres, and it is a dark grey. Not claiming to be an expert, but this gets a decent write up. So let's get cracking and get the edges cut in. Probably use the brush around the boiler quite a bit, around the back of it, to get that evened up. All around the sides, etc, etc. So yeah, let's get moving with it. There we go folks, that's the edges cut in now, so time to crack on with the main body of the floor. There we go folks, that's the first coat on after drying overnight, so this is the following morning. So time to crack on and get the second coat put on. I used about 4 litres to get that sort of rough coverage there, and that's a 20 by 20 garage, just to give you an idea. Obviously I'll need less in the second coat, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let's get the second coat on. There we go folks, that is the floor completed. It's had a little over a week to cure, so there's no tackiness to the floor, and it's probably as hard and as durable as it's going to get. So very happy with that job. Concrete sealed, so that should prevent the dust coming up through. Gives it a wee bit of a waterproof barrier as well. So my next stage will probably be to tile this with foam tiles now. Put them in, as mentioned before, much more comfortable to lie on and work in the car on, and they do have some insulation properties as well, rather than a cold concrete floor. The boiler has been fully rebuilt, so it's now running really, really well, and you'll see I have some insulation there, so I'm just doing a few measurements up to get some more for it. It was previously insulated, but I'm replacing it all for good measure. Then of course the next stage is going to be the ceiling lights. As mentioned, I have the LED battens, just have to fit them. So all going well, I'll have my dad round tomorrow and he'll give me a hand mounting them, and then whenever I get the time I'll get them all wired in. So you can see the garage is now starting to look really well, much better. As you can see, I've removed things like the masking tape around the power points and conduit there. So it's now looking very, very well. I think with 4 LED battens it'll brighten the place up no end. So yeah, slowly but surely getting there, but that will hopefully give you a good idea on how the garage is looking now.